Budget Day in Saskatchewan, where the province is spending your tax dollars and when it will be back to balance. The flagship store goes up in flames. Why the cause is a broader concern. And a Saskatoon native crowned the world's strongest firefighter.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the 2026-27 budget. It's called Protecting Saskatchewan. It focuses on maintaining government service during volatile economic times. But the government will have to run a significant deficit in order to do that. Wayne Mantika on what's behind the $819 million deficit.
Never in recent years has the government prepared a budget amid such uncertainty.
Today's budget is being presented at a time of significant global economic and geopolitical turmoil, where tariffs and other world events like the conflict in the Middle East have had an impact on our economy and provincial finances.
Important choices had to be made.
As we prepared the 26-27 budget, we had a choice: raise taxes, cut services, or protect Saskatchewan. We chose to protect Saskatchewan.
It came at a price. Revenue is projected at $21.46 billion, exceeded by expenditures of $22.23 billion, leaving a deficit of $819 million.
We listened to Saskatchewan people, and the top two concerns we have heard are affordability and access to health care. This budget addresses both.
Key to that is the province's Patient First plan.
And that's why we've committed that everyone is going to be connected in some way to a primary health care provider. Maybe not necessarily a doctor, be it a nurse practitioner or some other primary health care provider. You've seen the expansion of nurse practitioner initiatives in hiring, in training.
There is also a significant $4.3 billion capital construction plan.
It's a significant capital plan. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the third or fourth highest capital plan that this government has ever had in our history. That's building our schools, that's building our hospitals, that's building our highways.
The government could be helped by higher oil revenue. The budget projects a price of just under $60 a barrel. It's currently closer to $100. Still, the NDP question the government's forecasting ability.
I think it's probably a good time to remind people that last year, this government promised a $12 million surplus that has turned into a $1.2 billion deficit.
Current high oil prices are bringing unexpected windfall revenue to the province, but the government doesn't expect that to continue. It projects that oil prices will soon return to normal and that its budget projections will prove accurate. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
This budget comes as the cost of living continues to soar. It's most noticeable right now at the pumps and at the grocery store. Donovan Mace on whether residents will see any relief in this budget.
No new taxes are coming to Saskatchewan in 2026.
Our government is keeping every one of the affordability commitments we made.
This budget comes as Saskatchewan struggles with rising costs. Prices at the pump and the till continue to increase, and the NDP believes tangible measures like suspending the provincial fuel tax is low-hanging fruit left on the vine.
It would offer some relief and a signal to people that just maybe, this government understood.
While taxes are staying the same, several fees are increasing, including power rates, auto insurance, and licensing fees, even the cost to get a fishing license. Critics say there is too much spending and not enough support for affordability.
We've seen a government that talks a lot about making life more affordable for Saskatchewanians, and they've done that in the past, but they failed to adequately do that in this budget while increasing the debt and increasing costs.
And still, residents are looking for relief.
You have to kind of live within means, and I can't get groceries because my bills are too high and they're still rising.
More people are not being able to maintain their base water, energy, power, and it's very difficult to gain and maintain housing if you don't have those base utilities.
Ryder pointing towards a series of tax incentives for that relief, increasing its available tax credits by $42 million over last year.
These tax cuts, combined with indexation, are providing about $200 million in tax savings this year.
The government adds it remains on schedule to meet its campaign promise of cutting income taxes within 4 years. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Most of Saskatchewan's budget is going to health care as the province tries to improve access and cut wait times, in part by hiring more staff. But some say the focus should be on incentivizing the workforce we already have. CTV's Laura Woodward reports.
Health is the largest expenditure in the province's budget, with record funding of $8.5 billion.
That's a nearly 5% increase from last year. Over $600 million will go towards building and upgrading facilities across the province. The budget includes $2 million for hospital safety teams in Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert amid rising concerns of violence, and $2.3 million to create a multiple sclerosis clinic in Regina. It also includes $673 million to address mental health and addictions, an increase of about 8%. Much of the spending supports the government's Patients First plan.
We've committed that everyone is going to be connected in some way to a primary health care provider. Maybe not necessarily a doctor, be it a nurse practitioner or some other primary health care provider.
When it comes to training, the province is adding 20 new doctor seats and 26 for nurse practitioners, along with a new program to help registered nurses advance into practitioner roles.
Today on the SHA website, we have over 100 unfilled nurse practitioner positions. So of course this government cannot recruit and retain healthcare workers, and they'll continue to not be able to do that.
The union representing Saskatchewan healthcare workers says the problem isn't training, it's retention.
I feel like the budget is a missed opportunity and quite frankly very disappointing, because it did not talk about the root cause of the problem we have today in healthcare. That is the chronic short staffing.
Meanwhile, the government says its Patients First plan will be one of the biggest transformations to Saskatchewan healthcare. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The province is building on many previously announced initiatives in its $4.6 billion budget for education, but those working inside Saskatchewan classrooms were expecting a little more funding for the circumstances families are facing right now. Keenan Sorokon explains.
I think it's pretty terrible, honestly.
A modest increase to the education sector isn't getting a passing grade from Saskatchewan educators.
It leaves students completely out. There is nothing in there that is going to protect their classrooms or support them going into the future.
27 school divisions will share an additional $62 million of funding, which represents a 2.6% increase. And while these school divisions appreciate every dollar, this money isn't inspiring additional programming or initiatives. Sean Davidson says most schools in Saskatchewan are older than he is, and they need a lot of maintenance to keep the doors open.
This budget doesn't see any further investment in that area, and we were really looking for at least some enhancement in that preventative maintenance and renewal funding, and we didn't get any of that today. So that's probably the most disappointing part.
Given the pressures on this budget, the province says the overall 2% increase this year represents much larger increases seen over the last 2 years, and the need for funding to be sustainable long term.
With previous increases over the past 2 years in previous budgets of 8.8% and 8.4%, we're looking at about approximate 20% increase to school operating in the past 3 years.
The province is moving ahead with 3 projects, all outside major cities. The Martensville-Warman area will get a joint-use middle and high school. Shellbrook will consolidate its elementary and high schools, and a major renovation is planned in Esterhazy. But the opposition feels this budget is ignoring larger concerns.
We've got hundreds of schools in this province that are falling apart and many more that are bursting at the seams.
Private independent schools in Saskatchewan will not be getting an increase in funding. The $23 million is the same as last year's budget based on lower than expected enrollment. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon's mayor says the boost in municipal revenue sharing in this year's budget is welcome, but it doesn't keep up with inflation or population growth. The provincial budget sets aside $492.4 million for municipal revenue sharing, up 8% from last year. The program, in place for nearly 2 decades, gives municipalities a share of provincial sales tax revenue to spend at their discretion. Saskatoon will get $71.7 million this year, up from about $66.5 million last year. Mayor Cynthia Block says the stable funding is a relief amid global economic uncertainty and tariff pressures, but it's still not enough to meet growing demands.
For us to be successful as a city, we're going to have to figure out other ways to have a fiscal framework that is not just dependent on our province, but also federally, to ensure that we can deliver for the residents of our city and for cities really right across Canada.
Block says Saskatoon, like many cities, is looking for new ways to keep up with growing demand without putting more pressure on property taxes. Premier Scott Moe joins us now to help us digest this budget. Mr. Premier, thanks for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you so much, Chantal.
I want to start with Saskatoon Mayor Cynthia Block's thoughts on the budget. As we heard, while she's happy with the increased revenue sharing, she did raise the issue of Saskatoon dealing with issues like increasing homelessness and a lack of housing, perhaps in ways that other communities are not experiencing to the same level. Should that have been more of a consideration for Saskatoon in this budget?
Well, there was funding in this budget when it comes to some of the social challenges that we are facing across this province and across this nation in transitional housing, in some of the Path 2.0, the homeless supports that we have, but also I would say the recovery expansion that we've committed to of 500 beds, intensive recovery beds across the province, of which there's funding available in this budget that's going to allow us to achieve that. In addition to that, there's law enforcement funding that is present in this budget as well, provincially funded law enforcement budgeting to ensure that we can keep our communities safe as well. So there is the transitional housing, the emergency shelter support, as well as some of the peripheral supports that we need for the longer term approach to some of the underlying issues when it comes to homelessness.
On the affordability front, although there aren't any new taxes, people are still going to be paying more for some fees in some areas. Should more have been done to ease things in the more immediate future?
Well, again, what this budget does is protect the very fact that Saskatchewan is the most affordable province in the nation of Canada to live. And there's $2.5 billion now. A couple of years ago, that number was $2 billion a year. It's $2.5 billion now. As we enact the affordability commitments we made in the election just over a year and a half ago, bringing those to fruition, as we said we would. And we're protecting the affordability, the relative affordability that we have in this province to other provinces. That being said, we entirely understand that Saskatchewan families are facing inflationary pressures at the gas pumps and the grocery store like other Canadians are as well, and we need to continue to use the strength of our economy, and I would say that economy is one of the strongest, if not the strongest in the nation today, to continue to make these investments in the affordability for families wherever they might live in Saskatchewan.
As you know, the other big issue people are facing is health care. So regard to the Patient First Act, how soon will this plan help people if we're looking at months of recruiting and then training people for primary care positions, especially given staff shortages right across the country?
Yeah, that is one of the challenges, is what we're facing here in Saskatchewan, whether it be in some of the human resource shortages, the pressures of being able to access a healthcare provider, as well as timely access to a surgery or a diagnostic. Those are Canadian challenges, and we're facing those in Saskatchewan as well. And that's why we came forward with the Patients First healthcare plan to offer that improved outcome in our healthcare system, offer the right care in the right time at the right place. What we see in this budget today is funding those initiatives, those training seats, funding the opportunities we have for, some micro-credentialing to satisfy some of the scope expansion that we want to work towards, and funding some of the virtual care expansions that we will see as well. And in addition to that, funding the expansion of our urgent care centers, a new way to deliver health care, at least to our province, that is keeping many patients out of our emergency rooms and providing them access to that primary health care provider in a sooner fashion than maybe what we had even experienced a year or two ago. So some of it is in process, some of it is to come. All of it is to improve the outcomes in our healthcare system in the province in the very near term, as opposed to years into the future.
Premier Scott Moe, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Chantal.
Jeff, it was another melty day out there. We've got a few of them ahead.
Yes, we certainly do. Warm temperatures again tomorrow, and also down, and we're keeping our eye on a couple of things. There's this system that is sliding through Saskatchewan, impacting points north primarily, but it's a fairly thin band in some respects. And then as we take a look down south, windy conditions to go along with the warm weather. Quite windy down in parts of southern Alberta, and that wind is making its way into Saskatchewan as well. We'll talk about the details later on.
A few weeks before a preliminary inquiry was set to begin involving the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, the Crown has decided to rest its charges. Sierra D'Souza Butts tells us more on the Crown's decision.
The Crown will no longer be pursuing its case against the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, Romana Didulo, as the charges against her have been stayed. Didulo was set to make an appearance at Swift Current Provincial Court on Wednesday morning. Following her September arrest in Richmond, the leader of the so-called Kingdom of Canada was charged with 1 count of failure to comply with undertaking conditions and 1 count of intimidation of a justice system participant. After making her first court appearance, she was granted bail with more than a dozen conditions, including no direct or indirect contact with Ricky Mans, the owner of the decommissioned school in Richmond, which Didulo's Kingdom of Canada group had been occupying since 2023. A change in Crown prosecutors on the case was made earlier this year. As a result, Didulo's preliminary hearing was delayed from March 2nd to April 13th. However, due to the charges being put to rest by the Crown, the hearing will no longer take place. CTV News attempted to contact Didulo for comment. However, she did address her followers online for the first time since her arrest.
To join Your Royal Majesty Queen Romana Didulo I.
While waiting for court proceedings, Didulo was barred from communicating through the group's Kingdom of Canada website. She had been residing in Regina for the past 6 months as part of her bail conditions. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatoon Fire Department says it's seeing more fires sparked by lithium-ion batteries, and it's creating new challenges for the way the fires are fought. As Hallie Mandrick reports, it comes after a local business was destroyed because of a faulty e-bike battery.
This is what's left of Bolt Mobile's Battery Boys location on Circle Drive after a faulty e-bike battery sparked a blaze that caused $1.5 million worth of damage.
When you see your flagship location go up in flames, it's never a good feeling. You know, Tim and Linda Epp started this business back in 1989, and we've been at this location here since 2008, so almost 20 years, and a lot of good memories here, and so the nostalgia of that is, you know, it's hard to take sometimes, but, you know, we're going to rebuild.
According to the Saskatoon Fire Department, no injuries were reported, but the blaze had fire crews on the scene for 16 hours. The deputy fire chief says lithium-ion battery fires are becoming more common, and best practices for fire crews working to extinguish battery fires are frequently evolving.
A lot of the training now that we're doing, if we have a lithium-ion battery fire, we're not going to extinguish it. We're going to protect the environment, protect the scene around it, let the battery consume itself, and then go from there.
Hogan says while his crews were able to identify the cause of this fire, oftentimes the damage caused by lithium battery fires can make it very difficult to definitively prove that the batteries are the source. Adding some advice for those with the products in their homes.
If you do any research on lithium-ion batteries fire, you'll see the trend that's going on around the world. So that's why we're, you know, when we talk about it, you know, use the correct battery, use the correct charger, make sure the battery's in good shape. If there's any issues, don't charge it and take it to an authorized service center.
For the Bolt Mobile team, they still have 3 other locations operating in Saskatoon, and Kinderchuk says the goal is to eventually reopen their flagship store.
Thanks again to the Saskatoon community for all the support. You know, our whole motto around Bolt Mobile is little perks, big difference, and we hope you guys come back and see us at those other locations that we're currently open at, and hopefully we're back here soon.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still to come, we hear from the province's opposition how the NDP feels your tax dollars should have been spent. Also, the latest from the Middle East and the political fallout. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. Back to our top story now. Today's provincial budget was released, projecting an $819 million deficit for 2026-27. NDP leader Carla Beck joins us live from the Saskatchewan legislature now. Thank you for joining us tonight. Earlier today, you said this budget provides no relief for Saskatchewan residents. If you were in power, what specifically would you have done differently?
One of the first things, and this would have been an easy thing for the government to do today, given the fact that we've seen a 40 cent a litre at least increase when it comes to gas prices because of the war in the Middle East, this government could have offered some temporary relief at least when it comes to that gas tax. Remember, people in this province are already struggling to pay their bills. They're paying additional rates when it comes to Sask Power. People are having a lot of difficulty, more here than any other place in Canada, just making ends meet. It would have offered at least some relief. They could have also not put that $136 million Sask Power rate hike forward, something that we've been suggesting for a while, something that hasn't been popular with farms, with small businesses or families in this province. They could have done all of those things, but we didn't see that relief from this government in this budget.
The finance minister and the premier both said today they're planning the best they can given the world uncertainty right now, saying that no one really knows how long it's going to last or how bad things would get. How would you navigate what's to come and plan accordingly?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is I'd take some accountability, frankly, for this finance minister and the premier to suggest that, we're trying our best, but, don't be too hard on us. The reality is that this premier in particular has had a real pattern of fiscal mismanagement to the point where he has now increased the debt to over $43 billion and climbing. We are now paying more on interest to service that debt, 3 times, in fact, more than we're paying for police officers in this budget. It has real consequences when a government, when a premier cannot balance a budget, cannot make the financial decisions that are needed. And frankly, on top of all of that, we still have crumbling healthcare, we still have crumbling education in this province, and communities that are increasingly less and less safe. They may be trying their best, frankly. The people of this province deserve better than what is apparently this premier and this finance minister's best.
NDP leader Carla Beck, we appreciate your insight for us tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Chantal.
Well, oil prices have jumped again today as the U.S. and Israel continue their missile attacks on Iran, and as Iran retaliates, the conflict in the region only deepens. CTV's Heather Wright is in Dubai with the latest developments.
Overnight, Iran retaliated for the killing of its security chief, firing cluster warheads at central Israel, payloads that are harder to intercept as they disperse midair. Israeli officials say the attack killed 2 people and caused damage in multiple areas. Dubai was also attacked overnight and this morning, with alarms going off throughout the city. Officials here say the drones and missiles were all successfully intercepted. Speaking to British lawmakers, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says more than 200 military experts from Ukraine have been sent to the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, sharing their expertise in fighting a drone war, something Ukraine has pioneered during its 4-year fight with Russia.
We do not want this terror of the Iranian regime against its neighbors to succeed.
The United States and Israel continued their campaign against Iran today. U.S. Central Command says it dropped bunker-busting bombs on Iranian sites near the Strait of Hormuz, while oil sites linked to Iran were reportedly hit by Israel. Iran also confirmed its intelligence minister was killed. The regime has vowed to respond by attacking energy sites in the Gulf, warning people to stay away from facilities in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar. It's all leading to rising oil prices and uncertainty to how this conflict ends.
It's important to point out that once a war starts, you really can't control the direction it's going to go in.
Retired Major General Dennis Thompson says over the past 2.5 weeks, there has been a steady escalation of this conflict, which he believes has not reached its peak. He says the U.S. could still choose to hit Karg Island, where 90% of Iran's oil exports are shipped from, while Iran could go after desalination plants in the Gulf, cutting off a key source of fresh water.
I'm not convinced that there is a military solution to this, and they have to go the diplomatic route. If you keep killing the Iranian leadership, who are you going to negotiate with?
Well, Iran has allowed a few ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. The shipping route effectively remains closed. The UAE has said it is open to joining a U.S.-led effort to reopen the strait, but at this point, there is still no plan in place. Heather Wright, CTV News, Dubai.
Meanwhile, the U.S. president's top intelligence officials testified publicly today for the first time since the U.S. and Israel launched missile strikes in Iran. Lawmakers demanded to know what the evidence was justifying the war. CTV's Joy Malbin has more from Washington.
Arriving at Dover for a dignified transfer, President Donald Trump honoring 6 service members killed in a refueling air crash as the U.S. military took new action in Iran, dropping multiple 5,000-pound bunker buster bombs targeting Iranian ammunition storage sites. As global oil prices skyrocket, Trump is determined to get the oil flowing through the Strait of Hormuz with or without support from U.S. allies.
We don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually.
The president's top intelligence officials grilled on Capitol Hill over what evidence justified attacking Iran now.
Did you brief the president if he starts a war of choice that the likely result would be that Iran would strike adjacent Gulf nations and close the Strait of Hormuz?
I have not and won't divulge internal conversations.
Democrats are clearly frustrated. Asked if the president's strikes on Iran's nuclear sites in June obliterated the nuclear program, why go to war now?
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide.
Trump's intelligence director says it's not her job to determine what is an imminent threat to the homeland, as her chief of staff, Joe Kent, just resigned in protest, suggesting President Trump was duped into war, blaming Israel. And with Marines on the way to the Middle East, President Trump has yet to make a decision on sending U.S. forces into Iran to seize the country's remaining nuclear material. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Hi, this is Carrie at the 220 here to tell you about the Riversdale Art Walk. Coming up this Friday, March 20th from 4 till 8 o'clock, businesses, studios, galleries all throughout the neighborhood will open their doors. There'll be art exhibits and interactive experiences. Come on down. So, what's the weather going to be like?
Well, Carrie, actually pretty darn good on Friday. We've got ourselves cloudy skies, but the temperatures are going to be above seasonal by a little bit, by about 3 or 4 degrees warmer than seasonal. So cloudy skies. Once again, the art walk goes on between 4 and 8 in the Riversdale area, and you can go online to get more information. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on with our temperatures. 2 degrees in Saskatoon right now, 0 in Prince Albert. There had been some snow in the area, but that's backed off. So it's sunny in the Battlefords right now, 2 for a high, or a current temperature rather. And as you can see, a little breezier in Saskatoon and the Battlefords than it is in Prince Albert. Saskatoon's almanac, well, warm day again today, 3 degrees above seasonal. 0 is typical for this time of March. 15, though, that was the record set back in 1910. And once again, the cold temperature record is from that very chilly year, at least week, in the year of 1893. The sun came up at 7:14. It's going to go down at 7:16.
Coming up, a show of strength, what it took to take the title of world's strongest firefighter.
Budget day in Saskatchewan. Thursday on Your Morning, we are sitting down with the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition to discuss what's inside that document.
Okay, well, taking a look through the live lens of Skycam, bit of flaring off the lens there, and that right now things are looking pretty nice, almost idyllic, but certainly picturesque. But let's take a look at our satellite and radar shot here, and we'll see what we're talking about. Of course, we're keeping our eye on the heavy rain, and still expecting rounds of heavy rain out in British Columbia tonight and into tomorrow afternoon. And it's still going to be rainy into the weekend, so a soggy situation, dangerously so in some cases. Another system sort of slashing through Alberta and Saskatchewan, bringing with it a little bit of snow snow, a little bit of rain, a little bit of a mixture there. And then as we take a look at our temperatures, here we go. 2 degrees in Saskatoon, just to recap, 2 in the Battlefords and 0 in Prince Albert. On to our hotspot. That was Val Marie at a big time. 19 degrees today for a high, minus 20 in Sandy Bay, Island Falls, with the cold spot in the province. Currently, it's 5 degrees in Lloydminster, 13 in Swift Current, 10 in Moose Jaw, 7 in Regina, 9 in Estevan, and 1 degree. Yeah, I know, they're sort of on the outside looking in there. Yorkton is just 1 degree. And into central Saskatchewan and parts of the northern grain belt, well, 13 degrees in Kindersley, but it cools off 16 degrees or so by the time we get to Nipawin, where it's minus 3 degrees. A lot of locations are in and around that 1 or 2 degree mark. In Rosetown on the high side of things at 9 degrees right now. Up north, relatively mild conditions, minus 8 degrees in Collins Bay, minus 11 in Stony Rapids, but it does warm up to minus 4 in the Ronge and South End, minus 3 in Sandy Bay, Island Falls. And down south, it's 18 degrees right now in Maple Creek, 14 in both East End and Cornack, 13 in Assiniboia. Everyone else in the single digits, but all on the plus side. 9 in Weyburn, 1 degree in Last Mountain and Melville, and 8 degrees right now in Carlisle. So let's take a look at the future cast. So as I mentioned, we have that one system sort of rolling through in the overnight, and then the second system comes in, starts brewing up in Alberta. You can certainly see that just to the south of, or the north of the Edmonton area, and that it will be coming our way as well. So it doesn't look as though it's going to be a central, more of a northern situation. So Buffalo, Narrows, and Key Lake, the possibility of some flurries is there. Tomorrow, minus 6 for Stony Rapids, 3 on the plus side for La Ronge, so a melty day in La Ronge. Meadow Lake, a rain-snow mix, 7 degrees, and possibility of some showers in Spiritwood, 8 degrees. Mainly cloudy and temperatures of around 15 degrees in Kindersley and Rosetown. 21 with windy conditions in Maple Creek, also windy in Swift Current and warm at 18 degrees. 18 as well in Leader, not quite as windy, and 15 degrees in Outlook. Temperatures of 6 degrees expected in Yorkton, but a lot warmer by the time we get to Regina. 10 degrees warmer, in fact. 16 degrees in Regina. 18 with windy conditions for both Moose Jaw and Estevan on Thursday. 3 degrees in Melfort, 8 in Watrous, 4 in Humboldt, and a chance of a rain-snow mix in Hudson Bay, 5 degrees. For the Battlefords, dropping down to 0 degrees tonight, a slight chance of drizzle, a risk of freezing rain, maybe some fog patches showing up. 0 degrees, 9 tomorrow, cloudy skies, and then 3 on Friday with a chance of flurries, and a chance of flurries as well on Saturday, but minus 3 on Saturday. Sunday, plus 2, 0 on Monday, and minus 4 on Tuesday and Wednesday under cloudy skies. For Prince Albert, an overnight low of minus 4 degrees, 6 tomorrow with a chance of snow changing to rain. Cloudy skies on Friday, 2 degrees. Into the minus temperatures, though, once we start on Saturday. Saturday starts off with a high of minus 4 and then warms up a little bit the next day. Minus 1 tonight for the Saskatoon area, a slight chance of drizzle. Fog patches showing up. Winds out of the southeast to 20. The winds shift around tomorrow, but the temperatures jump up again. 8 degrees, mainly cloudy skies. And then as we take a look at the 7-day forecast, 4 on Friday. Saturday, still working on this Chantel, minus 3 with a chance of flurries. 1 degree on Sunday and Monday, and then just below the freezing mark on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, I look different. But hey, everything about me is different. I have a girlfriend.
Malcolm in the Middle is about, well, Malcolm is about to jump back into the middle. After nearly 2 decades, the Malcolm in the Middle reboot is almost here. Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair, features most of the original cast and writers. In it, Malcolm is a dad living with his daughter and girlfriend, but now has to face the family he's been trying to avoid. The reboot was originally announced in 2024. It's set to start streaming on April 10th. I'm looking forward to it. Well, ratings for this year's Oscars are the lowest since 2022. Variety reports about 18 million viewers tuned in on ABC or Hulu. That's down 9% from last year, despite praise for Conan O'Brien's hosting. Nielsen also reports declines in viewership for other recent award shows. Well, I guess we can go back to just 5 Best Picture nominees.
Welcome to the family, Leah. We have 1,000 questions.
We are getting a first look at Spider-Man, Brand New Day. It takes place in a world that has forgotten Peter Parker's true identity. Aside from Tom Holland, who plays the titular web-slinging hero, there's a number of familiar faces returning to the series. Zendaya is back as MJ, Mark Ruffalo plays Bruce Banner, and John Bernthal is the Punisher. It hits theaters July 31st.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. What did you decide?
Well, we've got a triple hit here. We're going to start out with a nice sort of a vista, shall we say. So let's take a look at that one. Here it comes. There we go. This comes to us from Anna. And hi, Jeff and Chantel. Picture taken in Denholm, March 11th, so a week ago. Interesting sunset with a cloud roll. Yes, indeed. A very nice shot there, Anna. So thank you for sharing that one. Next one comes to us from Maureen. And she simply says, you can sort of take a closer look. They got to puff up to keep warm. She says, ruffed grouse hanging out. Yes, indeed. And keeping warm, even though it's the snow may not be as deep as it is now, or maybe deeper then than it is now. And finally from Cynthia, good day, Jeff. We had the pleasure of hanging out and doggy sitting a 12-year-old baby bulldog. He's adorable, and I see why they're called bulldogs. His name is Francis, Old Blue Eyes, a.k.a. Frank Sinatra. Who knew little bulldogs were so much work? Well, that is an adorable looking dog. And if you'd like to send us a picture, you can certainly do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. And we look forward to seeing those pictures. And please put Pick of the Day in the subject line.
Still to come on CTV News, skills in strength, how a former Saskatoon resident is taking a top title on the national stage. A man from Saskatchewan was recently crowned world's strongest firefighter. Jasmine Pelche on what it took to take that title.
Evan Jaworski just became the first Canadian to win the title of world's strongest firefighter.
You spend so much time preparing for, maybe 5 minutes of work over competition time. And when it pays off at the end of the day, it's pretty satisfying.
This year, the competition for active duty firefighters was held March 6th and 7th at the Arnold Sports Festival in Columbus, Ohio, and included more than 100 competitors. The Saskatoon-born Jaworski advanced to the finals after placing first in the lightweight class and completed a total of 9 events over the 2-day competition.
And it's not always just for big guys, right? There's weight classes for a reason. There's a ton of weight class athletes in Canada. And I'm the first lightweight to win the world's strongest firefighter title.
One of the events in the finals required Jaworski to pull a fire truck 50 feet.
The way I think about strongman is you just be generally strong, and then you can learn the skills for specific events when you need to.
He decided to start competing in strongman events after a friend suggested it.
I was kind of in a lull between sports at one point, and a friend at the gym just told me I'd probably be good at it, so I just signed up on a whim, and I just kept doing well, so I just kept having opportunities, and now I'm here.
Jaworski plans to compete at the 2026 Strongman Games World Championship and will be back in action for next year's World's Strongest Firefighter competition. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
When we come back, the Bank of Canada rules on the key interest rate, and later we meet some future farmers set to lead Saskatchewan.
All right, welcome back for the rural forecast, and things are looking warm tomorrow in many, many locations. Some places getting a little rain, maybe getting a little snow, maybe getting both. One of those places likely to get both. Meadow Lake, 7 degrees tomorrow with likely snow changing to rain. Expecting some showers in Spiritwood, 8 degrees, 7 for Lloydminster. But look at these temperatures. Outlook, 15. Kindersley, 14. And even over in Hudson Bay, where it's sometimes a bit on the cool side, not bad. 5 degrees, albeit it comes with a chance of some shower, or rather some snow changing to rain. 3 in Melfort, 5 in Wynyard. Making our way down south. Look at that. Maple Creek, 21 degrees, 18 in East End, Cypress Hills, 20 in Rockland, 21 in Coronach. So some really roasty, toasty March temperatures there. And almost everyone on this part of our map well into double digits, with the exception of Kenora. So there's kind of a dividing line there as the storm track makes its way across Saskatchewan. And unfortunately, Norquay is on the other side of that storm track, expecting some showers, or at least I should say some flurries tomorrow. 4 degrees for a high, and the wind shifting around a little bit, but then essentially backing off. So a not bad day, but expect a little bit of flurry activity in the Norquay area. And that's where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The war in Iran is already having an impact on the global economy, and today the Bank of Canada is saying definitively inflation is going up. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver was at this morning's announcement.
It didn't take long for the war in Iran to boost the price at the pumps and kickstart an energy-driven consumer squeeze the Bank of Canada says is fueling inflation.
The issue for us is not really the immediate increase in inflation. We know that's going to happen. It's does that start to get generalized, start to spread, start to look more persistent.
The bank says it will work to make sure that doesn't happen, but warns the longer the war goes on, the wider the impacts on the economy that right now is weaker than the bank projected. Growth is slower, the job market is soft, and exports are lower than expected.
Normally, I think people would be thinking, well, you know, Canada needs some interest rate relief here. But once Mr. Trump started firing guns off in the Middle East, we knew that wasn't going to happen.
For now, the bank says the economy is being tugged in different directions by rising inflation and slowing growth. So it's taking a wait-and-see approach and holding steady at 2.25%.
Economic weakness combined with rising inflation is a dilemma for central banks. Increasing interest rates to slow inflation could further weaken the economy.
Economists say that decision makes sense, but they also warn global uncertainty will likely hurt consumers.
There's a lot of anxiety that's building about the anticipated inflation, and retailers are already going to be hiking their prices as they expect their costs to increase as these higher energy prices work their way through the supply chain.
The bank says it will be keeping a close eye not only on the war in Iran, but on the impact tariffs and U.S. trade are having on the Canadian economy. And if necessary, Tiff Macklem says the bank will act. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon currently just under $1.63 a litre. That's holding steady. The lowest price in town, $1.54.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $1.50.23 and Nutrien was down $2.05. Coming up, a look at the future of farming in the province. Then how they were doubling down in Ireland yesterday.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us for another great night of television starting tonight at 7 o'clock with The Masked Singer. It was all about the kids today at Canada's Farm Show in Regina. More than 200 students from grades 5 to 9 were part of the Think Ag Career Expo. We spoke to a couple of youngsters who help out on the farm in southern Saskatchewan.
We combine, seed, my dad hoes grain. I just like farming. I like combining and I like everything that we do on the farm.
My role is we have chickens, and so every day I collect eggs. If I need to, I feed the chickens with layer, and if I need to, I feed the chickens with water.
Tomorrow is the last day of the farm show, showcasing farm equipment, crop inputs, ag tech, and services made to help producers get ready for the growing season. And I'm sure they are helping their families.
I'm sure they are too. And growing season is coming up real soon.
It sure is. All right. You were away last night at O'Shea's.
Yes,
so we want to take you back to St. Patrick's Day celebrations in Ireland. Revelers took to the streets in the Irish capital of Dublin to enjoy the annual St. Patrick's Day parade. People joining to celebrate Ireland's national saint and Irish culture. As you can see, there was music, dancing, and of course, green beer among the festivities.
Really? Do they do green beer there? I thought they would be, sort of like anti-green beer, but there you go. Yeah. I don't know I don't know what kind of sort of a Gollum-y thing there is, but I'm sure we can look that up. So
there were some pretty fascinating sights.
Yeah, exactly. It would be fun to be in Dublin for St. Patrick's Day.
Maybe we'll fly you there next year.
Yeah, on that CTV Learjet right after I go through Chicago, and then maybe make a stop in Philadelphia and New York and all those other hot spots when it comes to St. Patrick's Day. So
we'll come up with a plan.
Cool. Did you ever see the movie The Fugitive?
Oh, a long time ago.
Okay, well, they shot one of the classic scenes during St. Patrick's Day.
There you go.
Fun fact.
We'll plan all of that for you next year, I promise.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.